Two dudes with attitudes, let's go. It's the two dudes and the attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're Bryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast, shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E. The two dudes with the attitudes to bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.
You are tuned in to Two Dudes with Attitudes, a wrestling podcast with your boy, the Heartbreak Dude, Denton, and your other boy, and my brother from another mother, Ryan Enjoys Wrestling, and this is the AEW
Fight forever
edition. This is, I'm really, when we go through this week, I think they really are trying to be ECW. They're like a mix of ECW and WCW right now, where every match is a hardcore match. And they're trying to give wrestlers as much money as possible to put them out of business. So I do think that we are like on the same wavelength right now. If Tony Khan's like Attitude Era, I can't copy WWE, so I'm going to take from ECW and WCW. I'm not saying it was bad. I love this week. Yeah.
AECW is what they should call it.
That's
I like that.
Or just get him the heck out of there. I don't know what Homeboy's doing.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we got some fun stuff. We're going to quickly talk about Rampage and Collision, what went on there, get into Dynamite. We're going to share a promo and break it down the best we can, talk a few other things we like, and do our segment. As always, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening, subscribing. Are you ready, Ryan?
I'm always ready, man. It was a good week in AEW. So let's talk about it.
I thought so. Let's break it down. All right. Rampage review. You ready?
Always.
Let's go. Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta defeat Kip Sabian and the Butcher to open the show. Ruby Soho is crying and upset that Angelo Parker is hurt. Supposedly he tore something. I don't know. She calls Saraya ugly and has an inbred family. Yikes. Julia Hart wins a squash match. Saraya is now fired up and wants vengeance against Ruby. She slaps a drink out of a random dude's hand, who then hits her brother, who flips the F out. Penta defeats Action Andretti, and Top Flight defeat Private Party and Commander and Brian Keith to close the show. And that is the Rampage review. Let's go. What'd you like? I mean, it was Action Andretti, right? I mean, they had that.
Yeah. I mean, really, there's not much to talk about with Rampage. This was the first one with their new set, because we didn't talk about it. We had last week's new set with Dynamite and the new logo. Rampage didn't change their logo, but they still used the 2-tunnel entrance and everything, and so it looked a lot cleaner. Yeah, it looked a lot cleaner and it looked a little bit better. But so I did note that was one of the first things I noticed. And then, I want to talk about the Ruby Soho Saraya thing, because
only thing to talk about. Let's do it.
Yeah. So I'm digging it, and I'm digging it because it's a story and it's exclusive to Rampage, and you have to tune in every Friday to kind of get to the next chapter. But at the same time, this has been going on now for 3-4 months. What is the payoff? What is the payoff going to be? Because they're not wrestling, so now they're just limited to backstage interviews, and every week it's a backstage vignette with Renee Paquette doing an interview with Ruby Soho, and then something with Saraya, and now her brother's involved. But is this going to lead to a match at a pay-per-view? Is this going to lead to a match at Dynasty? Is this going to lead to something to eat? Is this going to drag all the way out to Wembley Stadium at All In? I don't know, but I just feel like, the perfect time for this to have paid off would have been at Big Business this past week. Kind of finish the chapter and move on to a new story, or continue the story, but at least have some sort of physical altercation. And right now it just feels like it's just an ongoing thing, and there's no real conclusion on the horizon anytime soon.
Yeah,
but I'm still liking it.
But I agree there. I mean, it has been going on forever. I can do these Sandlot references all day. But I think two things are going to happen, right? Either A, we get the one-on-one. 2, we get the tag team, right? Or 3, we get both. And I think if they were smart, we should get both. Maybe they should do the tag team match on Rampage and it doesn't
Mhm.
end there, or the singles match on Rampage, it doesn't end there, and then you have the follow through with the second match, whatever order you want on Dynasty. I think that would be the way to go. Pay it out, give Rampage some love. I mean, you've been having everything happen on Rampage. You might as well give it a nice main event other than a random top flight private party and
Yeah.
commander match. You know what I mean? Let's have like a meaningful match. We're going to have a meaningful storyline. And I do like that they don't really bring it up on the other shows. I like that. I don't think Rampage should be an exclusive anything because it's only an hour. But I do like that at least with everything else going on, like a random Orange Cassidy match, a random Penta match, a random private party match and top flight. I like that at least they're keeping this feud alive because they were kind of moving the stories on Rampage recently. So I do
Mhm.
like and I like that it's exclusive. And I am digging it. I love seeing Saraya on my screen. I love, Ruby Soho is fired up. She cried better than, Cody Rhodes did, or
Yeah.
showed better emotion.
Yeah,
That's
she sure
great.
does.
So yeah, so I like it, man. I'm
Ruby's
excited.
perfect in it, practically perfect in every way.
She
My
is.
my sweet Ruby, but
Yes.
at the same time, I'm not really feeling the introduction of Soraya's brother. I feel like they could have introduced him a little bit better. Him beating up that Angelo backstage. It's just like okay. And then he beat up some random person this past week on Rampage, somebody in the back after the Renee Paquette thing. Like let's see him in the ring. Let's see what he can do.
Yep.
Let's see what he's capable of doing. So it was a unique way to introduce him. So I'll give him credit for it. But I'm ready for them. I'm ready to see what he can do. If he is everything is advertised, he should be a viable contender in AEW. But we don't really know because he's limited to backstage stuff. So I want to see him in the ring.
Yeah, especially if it's Rampage. Throw his ass on Rampage. Who cares? I'd rather see
Yeah.
him main event than Top Flight and Action and drawing all them randomly having a match. Yeah, and I
private
think
party.
it's weird too that his introduction was done like as inbred. She was like all into him and they were calling him daddy. And then I was like, that was odd. And then now since she brought it up, I'm like, that's how we're introducing this guy? Like it's not like she just like said it and Saraya's like, no, I ain't inbred. And that she didn't even like counter it. She was just like,
No.
oh, okay, I'm getting it on with my brother. Like, it's just weird. I don't know. That part is a little bit weird if that's the way you want to intro him. But let's see him kick some butt. He looks like a big dude. I mean, he has like a carrying cross type vibe, body and stuff like that. So let him go to work, man. Let him go to work. I've never seen him wrestle, so
I haven't either. I want to see what he's capable of doing.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's really good. But
that's what I heard. Yeah.
But I based on what I've seen in AEW, I don't know that. So
Yeah. Bring him. Let him wrestle. Him and Danhausen. What the heck?
We'll say
This
the
guy's wrestling.
girl that's with Saraya now, I can't remember her name, but man, she is a bombshell. She is.
I'm telling you.
She is.
I'm telling you, dude.
DDG, drop dead gorgeous.
It's funny because right now in wrestling, right now in wrestling, whether it be WWE or AEW, I feel like every woman, no matter size, race, whatever, they are fine, man. We are like in an era of just like beautiful, beautiful women wrestling. I'm like loving it as a straight male. Oh man, wrestling
I'm digging
is,
it.
I don't know. Yeah. And the fact that these girls can freaking go and a majority of them are better than the men in the ring is like icing on the cake. Because now not only are you giving me the visual, but now you're giving me the thing I love most, which is pro wrestling, and you're talented at it and amazing. Holy cow. I mean, none of them are Trish Stratus, but still, this is a good era to be a man watching wrestling, dude. These are even females, if that's your dig. Like, these girls are flipping in. Like, all of them. Every time they're on screen, I'm like whatever. I mean,
I love it. I love it.
And that's props. That's not me being a weirdo. That's mad props to these women.
No, yeah, 100%.
I mean, what the heck not? If you beautiful, I mean, show it, share it. All right, let's get into Collision. You ready?
Yep.
All right. Our Saturday. By the way, before I get into it, I just want to say, Tony Khan, does he have a budget that he can only use on Dynamite? Why is Collision still looking like a show shot in the back of an alley when Dynamite is like bright and like, right? I feel like if you're going to up Dynamite, why, like SmackDown and Raw both feel like big shows. Why does Collision still like look off. I don't feel like it's high. Like every time I watch Collision, I'm like, is this recorded? Is this like I don't know. You get that vibe or no? Is Collision? I just don't feel like they put the same production into Collision, and I think that's maybe why it gets lower ratings than NXT. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, I've noticed that lately too. I know this past episode was pre-recorded. I think they recorded it on Thursday. I think it was. I can't remember why. There was a reason for it, but maybe a basketball tournament or something. But yeah, they pre-recorded it, and yeah. So I think that might explain for this episode. But I have noticed a drop in production value over the last few weeks.
Hey, like I've always said, rich, poor, fat, skinny, tall, short. If you look like $1 million, you're going to get treated like $1 million. And I've always said that. Presentation of how you present yourself makes sense. I'm not saying you can't go out looking sloppy. I'm just saying if you present yourself like a star, you'll be treated as a star, no matter who you are in this world. The fact that Collision is not being treated to look like a star show, I feel like that's why it's getting treated as such. Because this was a good episode of Collision, but people aren't watching it. People refuse to watch it because it's not being presented as a SmackDown or a Raw. Come on, TK, let's get Collision going, man. You have this, you putting this money in Adam Copeland. It's the only thing he's like exclusive to Collision, and people aren't even watching Homeboy. Like we're like that. We'll get into it, but anyway. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
And that's me supporting AEW. I'm saying,
yeah, no, we want it to grow.
It's a good product. Show it. Let people see this damn thing. All right, Collision review. You ready?
Of course.
Let's go. Bryan Danielson defeats Shane Taylor to open the show. Will Ospreay, bruv, comes out and praises Danielson. Then Daniel praises him. And then they hug. Just kidding. And they'll have a match at Dynasty. The Bucks and Okada win in about 3 minutes. Eddie Kingston stumbles out and gets beat up. Thank you. Penta for the save. Gets beat up. And then Pac returns. Thug life, baby. And we have a 6-man tag on Dynamite coming up. Maria May, speaking of flipping gorgeous, still dressed as old Tony Storm, gorgeous, wins a match and then gets an award from Tony Storm called a Tony Award with an I. She gets her first ever award. It's a shoe. Pretty funny stuff. Deonna Purrazzo runs out and gets laid out by May, of all people. Nick Wayne wins a squash match after someone in a mask pulls Christian into the crowd. It's Adam Copeland, baby. Christian runs away, and Copeland holds the belt in the ring and has the briefcase from Pulp Fiction for some reason. I don't know where he got that briefcase, but I was intrigued. Chris Jericho defeats Titan. I think it was Titan. It was spelled Titan, right? But it was Titan, I think. And the Gates of Agony beat down Jericho, and Hook makes the save. FTR talks, and they will be in the tournament, and the Infantry interrupts, cutting a pretty good promo. I haven't seen these dudes much, but I liked what they had. They bring up the WWE for some reason. Mystico defeats Angelico, and House of Black defeats Mark Briscoe, Double J, and Jay Lethal in the main event to close the show, and that is the Collision review.
Yeah, I thought this was a solid episode of Collision. I like that the pay-per-view Dynasty is April the 21st, I think it is, and we already have our first match of the card. So we still have a long way to go between this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And so we have a long way to build it, but I like that we're getting Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson. I think that match, it's going to be great. I mean, it's two completely different styles of wrestling, and I think they can both adjust really well with each other. And yeah, I'm excited for it. You know, I think it'll be better than everyone was talking about the Ospreay Takeshita match being match of the year. I think this is going to be the match of the year for sure.
Yeah, because they're going to sell their moves, so it'll be good. And we can fade into it if you want, because they also, we'll get into that later. But yeah, they're going to have a match, and Ospreay explains why on Dynamite. So I did like it.
Into it.
I did like it a lot. I don't know why are we bringing back Deonna Purrazzo into on Dynamite, which we'll jump into because we might not bring up. She announced that she wants a tag match, right? That's the whole thing. She wants a tag match. She'll find a partner later. The thing
find out her partner tonight on Rampage.
Oh, tonight on Rampage. Okay. So I'm not like, if that's where it ends, that's fine. Well, actually, let's get more into that on Dynamite because we have an appearance by somebody. Okay, let's get into that. Sorry about that. But I did the thing I like about Collision is that it happened. It was random stuff, but Bryan Danielson might have fought a rando, but there was a purpose because then Ospreay came out. The Bucks and Okada win a random match, but it was to push the Eddie Kingston feud, leading to the Pac return and a Pac return on Collision. Once again, hype this show, man. Get people to see that.
I know.
And you know what I mean? And then a Nick Wayne random squash match against a nobody, but it served a purpose. It brought in Christian Cage and Adam Copeland getting their feud and everything else. But I want to, when I talk about that, what the heck is going, the briefcase? Can we talk about it's for those of you that have never watched Pulp Fiction. Basically, it's a movie that is told in different parts. So the ending's the beginning's the end, the middle's the end. It's just all parts. Someone dies and they're back alive later on. It was great storytelling, 3-hour movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you're offended easily, don't watch it. But it's a great movie. But here's the thing. The whole point is that they're protecting this briefcase, that every single time they open it, a light shines on their face, but you never see what is in the briefcase. It's just the most beautiful thing in the world, right? Is that what happened here? Like, what in the, he like showed it and like peeked it out, and Christian was like it had like his dad's head in it or something. Like it was like a freaking, like that one movie. What was that movie? With Brad Pitt, where the head's in the box at the end of the movie. Like,
what was the name? Oh, yes. Was it 7? Not 7.
Yeah, it's 7. It is 7. Yeah, it is 7. Yeah. Sorry to spoil that. But yeah, and Bruce Willis is dead. But anyway, but not in real life. In whatchamacallit? Yeah, the most spoiled movie ever. But what do you get from that? Did we need this? I like him holding the belt, but what's with the briefcase? Was it a weapon? It said like something on it, right?
I think so. I think it's like a callback to one of their like WWE things or something. It's probably going to be like a barbed wire baseball bat or something like Negan used to carry on The Walking Dead, or like Lucille. But yeah, I think it's going to be something like that. I think it's going to be like a barbed wire baseball bat or something that him and Christian used to carry when they were teaming together, or they used to. I mean, it's not going to be a ladder, obviously. So I've been going back trying to think of what it could be when Edge was a single star in WWE, when Edge and Christian were a tag team. I'm like, did they use any sort of weapons? And the only thing I really remember, was chairs. And I remember him using a baseball bat at one point, but like during like Extreme Rules matches. So that's the only thing I can think of. This reminds me of in WWE when Eric Rowan was carrying around that box. And,
oh my goodness!
And it was like, or we wanted to know what was underneath the black. It was like it turns out it was like a bird or something. It was like really weird. Stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't think it's a bird. I don't think AEW is that bad. But that was Vince McMahon at his in his latter years of WWE. But yeah, I mean, I like this because it's leading to the note to the I Quit match next week, and that's why I think it's a weapon of some sort that he's going to use to make Christian Cage say that he quits. But
yeah,
we'll see. I dug this though. I like that he came out in a mask and just beat the snot out of Christian. I thought that was cool, and I liked how the commentators, they weren't trying to. I think they knew it was Copeland, but they were still selling it. Like, get security out there. This random fan is beating them up. Like I like that they did that. I like that they, instead of being
although
like,
security
was
right there, but
yeah.
Although security is literally there watching it happen. I always love that too, right? Because I do want one time. This is WWE as well, where a guy is in the crowd and starts beating on somebody, and we don't know who it is. That the actual security guard gets involved and is like taking him away, and then the guy like rips his mask off and like, what? And the security guard's like, oh, at least some kind of like, it's Randy Orton. I didn't know. Like, I thought you were like, let's play it off. Don't just like have this mask guy beating the crap out of a wrestler while the security guard's just like,
holding the other people.
Stay away. Because then it makes fans think like, hey, I can just like start punching somebody, right? I mean, people are stupid. Anything else from this? You want to talk about House of Black finally getting a win for the first time?
That felt long. That match went a little too long for my liking, though. I was just like, oh my gosh, like this thing is. I felt like it dragged on. And some of the spots were, but it's AEW, and we talked about this at the beginning that they're kind of blending that ECW vibe.
They really are.
But some of those spots in that match were completely unnecessary, like the flaming table that served no purpose.
Why?
Yeah, I know. And then he just gets back into the ring and they pin him. And it was just like, why couldn't you just hit your finisher? Why'd you have to put him through a flaming table and then quickly grab him, throw him into the ring and pin him? Like, I don't know. I feel
He
like
caught on
that's
fire too. Did you see him? He was freaking out, and they like put him out and threw him in the ring. So I don't think it worked as well as it was supposed to.
Yeah, because that was a quick spot too. Like I mean,
Mhm.
that table didn't even like flame. I mean, it flamed up. You could see the fire, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like. It was like, okay,
No.
let's do this real quick, and then they threw, and then he caught on fire, and they rubbed it out, and
Julia Hart was there. Yeah.
yeah. But I don't know. I just thought that match went on a little too long. The miss to
It did.
Karen Jarrett's face, and the just all those unnecessary spots. But I thought it was a good match, and let's see what it leads to with House of Black, because that's been the thing. Like, it's start and stop booking with them and guys like Wardlow, which we'll talk about. But what's it going to lead to? What's next?
I agree. But we have to, with AEW, right? If you want things to feel special, they have to be treated as special. And when something is happening all the time, it doesn't feel special. So you have these like, and Dynamite as well. So I don't know if we'll talk about it, but like there was 2 hardcore matches on Dynamite, hardcore matches on Collision, like every match.
Yeah.
If every match is a hardcore match, then when you go to the pay, what conclusions do you have, right? Like this I Quit match with Copeland and Christian, like I don't care what they have those type of matches every freaking week on AEW. It doesn't do anything for me. But if we have these sporadically and treat them as such, like bleeding all the time, and like AEW just needs to stop with it. I get that that's what you're trying to do, but like I said, in ECW days, it was fun because it was never done before and they were doing it. That was their thing. I get, but we didn't have the talent that we have now. When you have the talented roster that AEW has, we don't have to have these matches constantly. Make them feel special. So when they happen at a pay-per-view, we're like, dang, yes, revenge, like make them bleed. But when they're having this, like it's
and
lunch.
every other week is a dream match of some sort. I think they said dream match like 3 times with Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay, but they said dream match with Will Ospreay and Takeshita at the last pay-per-view. And it's just every other week is a dream match of some sort. So,
well, since we're about to go into Dynamite, before we do the review, I wanted to say that I have been a big supporter of AEW announcers. I think Taz is great. I think Mask Man is great. I think, Shivani is great. I mean, when they put JR on it, it's great. Nigel is great. I even thought Kevin I think AEW does a really good job, the commentary team. I thought they did awful on Dynamite. They were like, everything was like great. Everything was like, every comment was, oh, Mercedes or whatever, Oh, we have so much talent on this roster. This roster is filled with talent. Oh, here comes Will Ospreay. Oh, Will Ospreay's on here. We have so much talent.
Yeah.
We're the most talented. Oh, Adam Cole's out here. Yeah, Adam Cole, man, and Wardlow. We have the most talented roster in the entire. We have so much. How do we even wrestle with these guys with so much? You know what WWE doesn't do is that. You want to know why? Because we know they're talented. Once again, if you have to tell us, then it's not true. So stop telling us that these people are talented and let the wrestlers just showcase it, man. You don't have that's not a way to hype people up, especially when you're saying it to every person who walked out was that our roster is so stacked. Like, stop. Instead of just bragging about all rosters are stacked. I'm sorry to break it to you guys, but WWE also has a very stacked roster. Shit. Impact has a very stacked roster. We're in a day and age where people can wrestle. So how about you show us what you can do with the talented wrestlers instead of just collecting them?
Yes,
that's
how I feel. And then, if you have such a good roster, and this is not a slight on any of these people at all, but if you have such a talented and in-depth roster, then why is Private Party and Action Andretti and Top Flight, why are they main eventing Rampage what feels like every Friday now? Like, show us some of that talent. Show us some of those people. Put Will Ospreay on Rampage. Put Takeshita on Rampage, and put other people on Rampage. Like, show us
international champion. Why don't we have him on Rampage defending his belt like Orange Cassidy did?
Yeah, exactly. Like, put these people on Rampage and put them on Collision. I mean, you have them on Collision, but put them on Rampage. Showcase your talent. Let's see what you got. I feel like Rampage has the same people week in and week out, and then Collision and Dynamite, they're trying to juggle. They're struggling to find space for everybody. So I think if they put some people on Rampage, we could see more of this great roster that they have, that they say that they have.
I agree. And with that said, we had a premiere on Dynamite, correct? We had a debut, and the ratings were in. We all knew who it was going to be before we even say the root. It was Mercedes Mone, right? And you have it. So let's hear it. How much is she getting paid, and how were the ratings on a card that all three of their new signings were featured? And we knew Mercedes Mone was coming. The end. You knew Okada was going to be there, and you knew Will Ospreay was going to be there. What were their ratings?
So Mercedes Mone apparently is the highest paid woman in professional wrestling. And the rumors are that she has signed a 3-year deal with AEW worth $15 million a year, or $15 million total, $5 million per year. So kudos to her. Kudos to her for getting that bag. She deserves 100%. It.
I agree.
And but this is also, we had a report last week that Okada is at $14.5 million. So there's still a huge gap between the men and the women.
Yes.
A $9.5 million difference. But if all this is true, it is what it is. But if you're paying Okada $14.5 million and you're paying Sasha Banks or Mercedes Mone $5 million a year, what are they going to pay MJF when he comes back? I mean, they got to be paying him something. I mean, if I'm him, I'm like, I'm not taking anything less than what Okada's making. I carry that company for 2023. I need $16 million. And then you start running into those kinds of issues of, okay, well, what about Bryan Danielson? What about Adam Copeland? What about
Moxley?
What about John Moxley? Yeah, it's going to run into, you're going to start running into like salary cap issues and everything. So
does that remind you of anything?
A company in the 90s that was also owned by Ted Turner that aired on TNT. It was called World Championship Wrestling, WCW. Yeah, I think it was. I think that's what it was called. It had 3 letters, WCW, I think. So
yeah. And here's the thing, right? I don't like knocking on Tony Khan, right? I don't. He's trying, and he started an organization which I do enjoy. So thank you for that. But the problem is that he did attack WCW. He went at Eric Bischoff and claimed that he was nothing like WCW and how dare he, and they flopped for a reason because they didn't know what they were doing. But although there's a book that has come out by Guy Evans that proves that had nothing to do with it, they didn't, once the merger happened, they didn't want WCW anymore. So, but here's the thing, ever since he said that, he's been doing it, right? And I think the other issue is with this tribalism is that it's not the fact that people want to hate on AEW or WWE. It's the fact that AEW and their hardcore fans and Tony Khan think that they are bigger than the WWE and they want to be bigger than them. And I think that's the problem. The Eric Bischoff brought up a great point at 83 Weeks that he said, if they just presented themselves like ECW did, then I don't think people would care as much, and people wouldn't care about the ratings, and they would treat them as is. Because when ECW came out, Paul Heyman said, we're not WWE, we're not WCW, we're ECW, and that's all we're going to be. We're not here to compete. We're here to be different. And if AEW would have just done that, I don't think we'd be where we are today. I don't think people would give 2 craps about ratings. I mean, we wouldn't have all these stupid wars, or if you say, well, I think that's the problem. Here's the thing. AEW is never going to be WWE, and this is exactly why. So what are the ratings for this week? This is what I'm saying. You brought this. These were the 3 people that the hardcores and Tony Khan said were going to make a difference. What's the rating?
So the ratings were 801,000 viewers for Dynamite in a 0.27 rating within the 18 to 49-year-old demographic. Clearly a very disappointing result for the arrival and the debut of Mercedes Mone. And it's barely late. I mean, last week, I think got 800 and something.
No, they got, last week was really, really low. Yeah,
that's right. It was like, so it's up from last week. I think it was like 799, but it's up to 801 this week. And so it's barely even more than what they had last week. So very disappointing. And the big thing too is I saw a chart, and I don't have it in front of me, but I saw a chart that because they have the Big Bang Theory as their lead-in, after like Mercedes Moné's debut had like 1 million viewers, and then there was a significant dip immediately after her debut went off after the first commercial break. I think some people probably just like left their TV on while making food or something, and then they changed the channel when they sat back down or something. But yeah, apparently Mercedes Mone had over 1 million views, or 1 million viewers, and then it went significantly dropped for the world title match with Wardlow and Samoa Joe. And then it was
people,
it just kind of stagnated the rest of the night.
Well, and here's why. Mercedes, we're going to break down the promo, but there wasn't a lot of kick to it. And as soon as you saw the heavyweight title match being the first match of the night, you knew who was winning. So that was probably another reason. But I digress. I'm just saying that after this rating, can we stop? Can we just treat WWE as WWE? They're the juggernaut. It is what it is, whether you like it or not, the end. And AEW as AEW, the difference. Let's just treat it as such. And I think things would be a lot easier and people would stop. People would stop complaining. You have the AEW hardcores who are like, ratings don't matter, but they do, right? Because you have to make a profit. You can't be paying these people this much money and losing on it. You have to, if you're going to pay someone something, you are hoping that you get something back, right, in return. And that rating was not it. And I don't see the ratings going up. If that one that should have hit 1 million, the end. And it didn't. That's a shame. And that shows that what we are doing on AEW isn't working. Tony Khan needs to wake up. We need storytelling. But let's get into it because they did do that on this episode. So are you ready? So we're going to do this review and then we're going to break down the promo, right?
Yep. I got it all ready to go.
All right, let's go. The Dynamite review. Mercedes Mone is all elite, and she has arrived to a huge freaking pop. She just discusses why she's here, her journey, and she's here to tear it up, starting with Willow and Riho. It's story time with Adam Cole, baby, and he talks about Wardlow and all the titles he's going to win. Samoa Joe then instantly defends his title by submitting Wardlow in about 11 minutes. After the match, Swerve comes out with the chain and Joe gets away. The Elite defeat Kingston, Penta, and Pac in his return. Will Ospreay, cuts a promo with Tony Schiavone and has a ton of fire, and it's actually an amazing promo. He says this match is best wrestler ever versus best wrestler today. I like it. Deonna Purrazzo challenges May, as we talked about earlier, and Storm to a tag match next week. Jay White defeats Darby Allin and then turns on the Acclaimed, ending the Bang Bang Scissor Gang already. Holy crap, what was the point of the group? He then breaks Darby's ankle, I guess. Lionhook defeat Gates of Agony and will face each other next week. Kyle O'Reilly cuts another awful weird promo. And in the main event, Willow defeats Riho. And after the match, Juliet Hart and Sky Blue try to attack Willow, but Mercedes Moné comes out to make the save and end the show. And that's the Dynamite review. A lot of good stuff. Do you want to start with the promo? Do you want to end with the promo? What do you want to do?
Yeah, let's start with the promo because I feel like we got to talk about the hot button issue first. So let me get my. I feel like
and I like that they opened with her, this. By the way.
Sure. Yeah, I thought that was the smart thing to do.
I agree.
Right. So you should see my screen.
Yes. We're going to start on the promo, and then we'll pause and talk about it. Right? Well, things we like, didn't like, or we can listen to it if there's not too much going on. But all right,
here we go. She got a big pop when she came out. I did like that.
Huge. Okay, really quick. Let's pause it. Okay, so if you can, really quick. So welcome home wasn't AEW. People were talking about that. Like, why are they saying welcome home? That meant to Boston, right? They were meaning welcome home, like in Boston, not in. Also, the emotion she showed on her face, real emotion. Remember Cody Rhodes? Oh, it was such a good promo. No, that is really, that was like her being overwhelmed by everything. By the way, like you said to me off the record, gorgeous as always. Sasha Banks is stunning. She is amazing, but I'm going to say, I don't like the hair. I don't like it. I don't like all elite on the back of her head. I know that's her new thing, the tiger print, but a little too much for me. That's just my opinion. And I don't like her name. I don't. I know they chant it and it's fun to chant. Boss the CEO. I don't know. Could she not use the boss anymore? Is that why she's CEO?
I guess. Like
it's better than saying manager. I don't know what.
She'll be a Karen.
Yeah.
No, Yeah, I don't know. I think probably there's probably some copyright issues or something with using the term "the boss" from the WWE or something. But so I think they had to change it up a little bit. But I don't know because Edge got to keep rated R superstar. So
Yeah.
I don't really know.
She's the CEO of what? Like, did she get promoted? Because if she did, what'd she do after WWE to get promoted? I don't
Yeah.
like it. It's fun to chant. Yes.
What's the hierarchy in AEW? Because you have the
Yeah.
EVPs, you have Nicholas and Matthew Jackson running around like they own the place,
Mhm.
but then she's the CEO. So does she outrank them? So
Yeah.
and I thought Tony Khan was the CEO. Like, what's his title?
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah.
not digging it, but that's it. Everything else I liked. All right. Whenever you're
All right.
ready.
If you guys can feel my heart right now, it's beating out of my chest. But first and foremost, that's the first thing I want to say is thank you. Thank you for having my back these past 2 years.
I like that.
Thank you for giving me the courage and the strength to be here.
I like that sign.
Thank you for
That was
sticking
handed
with
out.
me from
Had to
all
be.
of my lows,
Yeah.
all of my highs, all of my milestones, all of my titles, all of my moments, the history-making moments. Thank you.
That was all WWE she was talking about, right? I believe.
Mhm. I think so. She had some stuff in New Japan too.
And trust me,
Yeah.
we are going to be creating so much magic and so many moments together.
He's loving it.
Oh,
Nice.
commercial.
DraftKings Sportsbook is live
Sorry.
in
It
North
happens.
Carolina. You'll be
Freaking hate
so
YouTube. Right.
Because every single one of you,
But we're subscribed to our
you are
YouTube.
the reason that I am here. So thank you. I love you.
She seems genuinely happy. I love it.
Yeah.
And there it is. It's fun to chant.
Oh yeah, it is. And the crowd was lit.
They were.
I love you guys. And
It's
if
always
you
nice when there's
only
people in the
knew-
crowd.
Yeah.
If you only knew how much tonight means to me, how much this means to me, how much wrestling means to me. You see, in so many ways, wrestling has changed and saved my life.
Emotional again. It's good
Wrestling
stuff.
has given me hopes. It has given me a place to dream. And people and legendary people like Eddie Guerrero gave me a place that I can believe that I can do this one day too.
Here, can we pause really quick? Question for you. So she brings up Eddie a lot. Now, they did not know each other, correct? That's just her like idol.
I think so. Yeah. I don't think they ever crossed paths or anything because I think
She's too young.
Yeah, I think she's only like in her late 20s and he passed away
Mhm.
2007, 2008.
Yeah.
So-
So with that said, I think it's weird to bring him up, correct? At a AEW event. I mean,
Yeah, I think it is a little. I know Chavo's been very vocal about wrestlers using Eddie's name for clout.
mhm.
And he's been like a lot of people have been doing this, and I don't know if he was taking a shot at Mercedes, but this was a few months ago when he said it. But I think she said it before on some other promos.
She's done it a bunch, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if
Yeah.
he's talking about her, but yeah, he has mentioned the fact that people bring up Eddie's name as a way of clout chasing. So who
Yeah.
knows?
And I don't know if she did that here. I think she truly does love Eddie. She's always brought him up. I think she does his type of moves in her ring when she wrestles. But like when Dom does it, at least it makes sense, right? Dirty Dom, was his
There's a
son
story
and
there.
blah
Yeah.
blah blah. There's a story. But if you weren't like trained, I just feel like if
Yeah.
this was WWE, I get it. This is AEW. Let's not. But one last thing too, I really like her promo also because she's not being over the top Sasha Banks. I used to think her promos in WWE were kind of whack because she would get too like, I'm Sasha spanks, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And that, like, this was like, I don't know if she'll go back to this, but this was like a good. You can tell it's her. You know what I mean? This is Mercedes Mone. This is like who she is, and this is what I really, really liked about the promo. And we didn't need. This is what AEW does, right? They do promos where they appear, and they're just talking about why they're here. They don't have to like cut pipe bomb CM Punk type promo.
And the thing I liked about this too was I was really worried that because she went on that podcast last week and said, we all know I'm going to be going back to the WWE one day. I think that was like a slip that she didn't mean to say, but she, that's why it wasn't in the original cut of the podcast. It was in like the director's cut. But I was really worried that she was going to come out and just start belittling the WWE and be like, I'm here in AEW because that place sucks and that place was terrible and I didn't want to be there. And I'm glad that they didn't go that route. I don't mind her bringing up Eddie Guerrero, but I was really glad that she didn't talk about her time main eventing WrestleMania or talking about, just saying like we've had a lot of history making moments in my career. I'm fine with that, but don't name drop certain events. Bryan Danielson's done that a lot in his time there. CM Punk did it. MJF brings up everybody all the time from WWE. I'm just glad that they didn't do that this time around.
I agree with you fully. All right, let's finish this up.
All right. Eddie chant.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you for letting me believe in my dreams. You see, my dreams got me to lead a woman's evolution.
The reference, but
my
not making a
me
reference.
The first ever woman to main event at pay-per-view in this very building.
A reference, but not, once again, bringing it up. Well done. She's allowed to talk about her past.
I'm okay with this stuff.
And when I was 13, I dropped out of school to take care of my brother. I love you, Joshua.
See, real emotion.
And then those dreams at 18 years old and only 90 pounds took me to North Andover, Massachusetts, to a place called Chaotic Wrestling, where I began my dream. And that dream to become the greatest women's wrestler of all time. And I want you guys to know, if I can do it, you can do it too.
Yeah, she's not better than anyone. I like it.
Yeah.
So let's get down to business, huh?
I like that dynamite thing in the back too. We haven't brought that up, but I do like that.
I'm here?
I like the new logo, yeah.
Because I need to be here. I want to be here. AEW is the only place where this revolution can be global. And we are going to make that happen. You see, I've been watching week upon week upon week, and everybody in that locker room, ooh, I can't wait to tear it up with every single one of you.
I like it.
Let's start with our main event tonight. Rio versus Willow Nightingale. Now, Willow you and I have a lot of unfinished business.
I like it, the callback.
But right now,
yeah, I like the storytelling.
Big Business, Mercedes Mone is all elite.
Of course, she's going to thank Tony because I don't care what anyone says. They're forced to. I don't give two craps. People are like, Tony's not that kind of guy. They wouldn't all do. They don't thank Triple H on WWE constantly.
Chairman, Tony Khan, thank you so much for that tweet. To all of the AEW fans out there and watching at home, please say hello to your new CEO.
Huge chant with it, and for you and me, thank you, Sasha.
Yes.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. So we broke it down. Everything we liked, didn't like. I agree. I think it was perfect. We don't need to overdo it. That was a
No.
fantastic way. And then obviously we see her at the end. That's why they main evented with Willow and Riho for some reason when you had the talent you had. So she can come in, and I love it. Do you love it? Are you happy that she's not going after Toni Storm and she's going after Julia Hart
Yes.
instead?
Yes and no. I am happy that she's not going after Toni Storm, because that was my fear, was that it was going to be, she was going to be force fed to Toni Storm is the best character in AEW, best character hands down, and
In wrestling, maybe.
maybe all in all of wrestling, like best character. And I think she's clearly the face of that women's division, and it's not time for her to drop the title and putting the belt on, or making her face Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné. She would have to drop that title immediately and give the belt to the CEO, and it's not time. And that's also, I think AEW would take a lot of heat for that, because another ex-WWE superstar coming right in and going right for the title. So I actually like the slow burn that they're doing, and I think they should keep them separated. Don't even have them interact. Just keep them separated on TV until maybe All In later this year or something, and then have them do that match. But I also don't know how I feel about her going after Julia Hart, because now I feel like Julia Hart's time as TBS champion is short-lived, and she hasn't really had that great of a reign ever since she won.
Injured. Yeah. She got injured, which sucked. I'm okay with it though, because I feel like this is like a Tiffany Stratton type of situation where she lost to Becky Lynch, where she had the title, but you're going up against probably the best in your organization. If she loses to Sasha, or Mercedes, she's gonna have a hell of a match one and get over afterwards. Look at Tiffany Stratton. She was shot to the moon. I think if they book it right, they can shoot Julia Hart up to the moon too. And,
did you notice?
I do it.
Did you notice in that promo at the very end, she said, "Say hello to your new CEO."
Weird, right?
You know who does that?
Oh, come on! I stole that from her.
I know you did. I
know.
I'm just saying. You think that was a little potential, hint at a potential Britt Baker return, and maybe we're going to get Britt Baker versus Mercedes? Yeah, I would love to see it.
Britt's the Charlotte Flair of AEW. It is what I know. She hasn't been around in a minute, but she is a Charlotte Flair. When she's there, it's you take notice. So her against Mercedes Moné for the TBS title, yes, please. I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
But I noticed you said CEO, and that's Britt Baker's thing. So I could see that being foreshadowing.
Or maybe have Britt cost Mercedes the match against Julia Hart at the next pay-per-view and then start a feud that way. I'm for that too. A non-title, just have them go at it and bang it up. Hell yeah, dude. I want to see what Britt can do, because we've never seen Britt against anyone from the WWE truly women's division. Who is she really face from there? So I would really like to see how she hangs with Sasha Banks, because people downgrade Britt like she ain't it just because she hasn't been in WWE. Girl is it, and I really, 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 I want to see her back on my screen in general. But
I know
her against, All right, let's talk about Wardlow. What you got?
I don't know what's next for him. As soon as they made this match, and it was the second match of the card, that's when I was like, okay, yep, Samoa Joe's winning, and that's that. And the fact that Wardlow submitted, I mean, the match was fine. It went I think there was a commercial break during the match, so it wasn't like a short match, but it wasn't too long. But the fact that Wardlow submitted, and they did the video package too. They hyped Wardlow up. They had Adam Cole read a book to us about Wardlow being this big monster, and they mentioned MJF and showed MJF on screen for the first time since he's been out. They showed a picture of it, so I'm wondering if that means that he's coming back soon. And that was what I thought, was that that was going to lead to an MJF return. He was going to take out Wardlow and Adam Cole, and then lead to some matches there in the future. And I would have been fine with that. But the fact that Wardlow just submitted to Samoa Joe, and then Samoa Joe just moves on to Swerve Strickland like Wardlow was just nothing. I mean, like Wardlow was just gone. There was no like after match fight or anything. There was nothing. I don't know what's next for Wardlow. I mean, I could see the Undisputed Kingdom kicking him out. I could see him going back up and getting another shot, but I don't really know what's going on. I mean, start and stop booking.
This was the most hyped he has been and pushed in forever. This started with him doing the segments about MJF, and now being in this and hyping him up to be the champ. And then he submits in 11 minutes. I mean, I'm not saying that the match is, was bad. It was a good match, but damn, like, what does he do next week? It wasn't even like there was help. He just straight got his butt beat.
It was too soon.
I know
It
he
was,
fell asleep. Yeah, it's just
it was too
weird.
soon for him to have this match. I mean, he's been doing interviews, he's been hyping it up, saying that he's coming after he was coming after MJF. So that's how long he's been talking about this. But then he won the All-Star Scramble at Revolution to get the shot. It was too soon for him to have this match with Samoa Joe. And then you have the double booking thing too, because now Samoa Joe's working with or in the program with Swerve Strickland. So they're not going to have. We knew Samoa Joe wasn't dropping the title because we knew that Swerve. It's going to be Joe versus Swerve. So Swerve and Wardlow don't really have a program together. So it didn't make sense to put the belt on Wardlow, and I don't think it made sense to have this match at all right now. But
I agree, especially if you were just moving forward with Swerve anyway. Why not let Wardlow hold on to that like a briefcase for later on in the future? I don't know. I just thought it was really bad booking. One of the only negatives I had on this episode. Let's talk about some Jay White, right? You want to talk about that? The Bang Bang Scissor Gang? Are you interested in that? What do you feel?
I am now. Yeah. The only thing I didn't like was them taking out Darby Allin and like storyline breaking his ankle. And the reason why is because we know, because next week what they're going to do, because he's climbing Mount Everest, and so he's going to be off TV for a while. And so we know AEW is going to show videos of him at Mount Everest. They're going to show, and I thought, and then you have the whole, well, I thought his ankle was broken. I thought they wrote him off TV. So you didn't need to do that. You could have just said this is going to be his last match for a while. As he goes to climb Mount Everest. Boom. End the match. You don't have to have the Bang Bang Scissor Gang break his ankle or anything like that storyline wise.
I agree.
But
I agree.
Other than that, I'm glad that we're getting the Acclaimed versus the Bullet Club Gold. Bullet Club Gold was getting a little stale there as with the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed was, choking on raps, and it wasn't really hitting the same. So I'm curious to see if they unify these titles, the trios belts and the 6-man tag of ROH. Curious to see when they have this match. Does it take place at Death Before Dishonor, which is the pay-per-view for ROH the week of WrestleMania? Does this go on to Dynasty? So, but yeah, I thought it was a good way to turn Jay White back to a heel and give us the Bullet Club Gold in its glory again, and the Acclaimed back.
I agree, and Jay White needed this. It was stupid to pair them up anyway, and I think once they did it, they were like, maybe they were trying to get MJF, Adam Cole, gold off of it, and it just never worked. They never did anything with it. And
they lost sight of why they got together in the first place, and that was to go after the Undisputed Kingdom, and then they never did. Yeah,
never did. Yep. All right, last thing. Let's talk about let's talk about I want to talk about Chris Jericho. Sorry, can we talk about Chris Jericho?
Yeah.
Did you have something else you want to talk about instead of that? To end this off?
Yeah, no, I think Jericho is perfect to end with.
Jericho. I'm going to say it. I think he is lost now. I think it's time for him to close out his AEW career and go to WWE and have a solid year and go in the Hall of Fame. I'm going to say it. He failed the crowd. This was the most hype crowd I've seen in AEW in quite a while on a Dynamite. They sat on their damn hands during that tag team match. They didn't pop for him. He's not coming out to his music that they he just seems like
I don't understand that.
The Lionheart. AEW seems like they have moved on from him, meaning they're trying to do this younger vibe thing right now with all this new talent, and I just don't think he did what he needed to do. He started him off. He got him name recognition. He was their first champ. He's done great. But sometimes we run our course, and I think, in my opinion, he's run his course. I think it's time for him to he just seems like they're just putting him in. Like, he ain't getting Hook a rub right now. This is going to do nothing for Hook. I think it's time to. Am I off on that? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think it might be time for, at least for him, to maybe not go back to WWE, but maybe just take a break from AEW for a little bit. Maybe go off TV for 3 to 4 months or so, and just go tour with Fozzy and kind of come back and maybe have a different, because one thing about Jericho is he's always reinventing his career, his character. He's always reinventing himself. So maybe he can find another character that he can come back with and later on. But right now I think he is running his course, and now he's challenging Hook to a match. He wants to stand across from Hook to see who the better man. I don't know. It was really weird to me on Collision when he came out to the Lionheart music. He hasn't. I know they've been teasing the Lion Hook thing. When he was wrestling that Titan guy, Titan, he came out to the Lionheart, and that's not what got you over, man. In AEW, everybody loves you because you come out singing Judas. And then he did it again this past week on Dynamite. And I'm just like, why? Like, why are you playing? I get you're trying to play into the many characters of Jericho and but you know, as we say to, you know, he's a rock star. So as we say to our favorite rock stars, play the hits, do what got you there. And that's Judas, you know? So I don't understand.
I agree.
I think when the fans saw that he came out as Lionheart, I think that's why they sat on their hands the whole match. They just weren't as invested because they couldn't sing his song. And I think they would have been more invested if they had the opportunity to sing his song.
Yeah, I agree. And I just feel like the last few feuds he's had, I just feel like they're just throwing him in to keep him busy. They're like no purpose. And the only reason why I said WWE, because I know he wants to go to the Hall of Fame. Only way to get in the Hall of Fame, you got to be a part of them. They're not going to put you in the Hall of Fame if you're not in the organization. So he's going to go back at some point. So will Christian. So, I mean, they want to go to the Hall of Fame. They got to do that. But yeah.
No, I agree.
But anyway, I agree. Yeah. But AEW, man, great week. Applause to you. I like this Dynamite. I think after people watch this Dynamite and see that they're doing promos now, they're building stories, they look better. I think the ratings will go up next week. I think they will. Do they have a chance to be in that million every week? I don't know, because I felt like this was it. They needed to hit the million here, but either way, they're doing better. I like the future. I'm digging it. I'm digging this new feel.
And there's still
I'm all for it, man. It's fun to watch.
There's still MJF out there. There's still Britt Baker, as we discussed. You know, the women's division. Yeah, this is the first time the women's division's main evented a Dynamite in a long time. So, yeah, I think the women's division is going to get a lot of focus.
Great match
forward.
too.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I think AEW's got a bright future ahead of itself if Tony Khan can just stay out of his own way.
I agree. All right, Tony, do that. As always, I'm the Heartbreak Dude, Denton. You can catch me on all social media at HBD Denton. Anywhere you want to hear my voice or see my gorgeous face. And with me, as always, is the man, Mr. Orange Cassidy himself.
Yeah, whatever. Ryan enjoys wrestling. Go follow me on all those social media platforms, especially TikTok, and then follow us on TikTok at 2 Dudes with Attitudes. Follow us on X at 2 Dudes PC. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube. We want to get to 1K by WrestleMania, and I think we can make it happen. We can make it happen. It's going to take some work, but we can make it happen because 2024 is going to be the year of the dudes.
Yes, it is. 2 Dudes Wolfpack.
It's the 2 dudes and the attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking. So let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton. They here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E, the 2 dudes with the attitudes that bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.